purpose of this training is to help people get the right understanding of what this is, how special this project is. We want you to be able to position yourself properly, ladies and gentlemen, when you have the proper education. So that's what this is all about. We've got a bunch of team leaders here who are going to be sharing their thoughts as well. But with that said, let's go ahead and get right into it. So I want to talk with you about the 30-foot view. What is that? That is the big picture, ladies and gentlemen. Can you see the big picture of this project and what makes this so unique? That's what we want to talk about tonight. So we're going to talk about several different things, and we're going to share with you our point of view and what we see when we look at this project. We're going to talk about access to funds. We're going to talk about price action, project growth, compound growth, the privacy stablecoin A. We're going to discuss the LGNS, the utility of the token, and we're also going to talk about the ecosystem blueprint and the things that are coming. All right? So I want to start off and I want to talk about access to funds. One of the things that stood out to us about this project from the very beginning was that the funds are not locked down. We all have immediate access to our funds. We can withdraw all of it or part of it anytime we want to. If you've been around in this space, you know that that is very rare. Most of the time, they want to lock your money down. You have to wait for someone to approve your funds and all these different things. This was one of the first things that caught our attention that let us know that there was something special happening here. But I also want to talk about price action, ladies and gentlemen. This is a screenshot. This is from DEX Tools, which is a decentralized exchange. And I want you to look at the price. All right. Sometimes when the price goes up and down, people don't know how to respond to that. One of the things that most people don't know is that cryptocurrency really was created for long-term growth. All cryptocurrency was created for long-term growth. People who don't know much, they get in it and they're looking for quick, get rich quick opportunities. And the problem with that is that when the price drops, they begin to freak out. But they don't understand that this is the long game, ladies and gentlemen. It's not about a little bit of money that you can make right now. It's about that long-term gain down the road. And that's the power of compounding. What makes compounding so powerful? The longer you compound, the bigger the gains. This is the long game. And so when the price goes up and down, guess what? We don't freak out. In fact, we've seen the price go up and down since we've been involved in this for the last several months. But one of the things we notice, it always comes back, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have to freak out about that when you understand that this is the long game. And as you can see here, this is a chart. You can see back in March of 2024, when this coin was first released, it's called an ICO, initial coin offering, the price spiked up. And then when the price spiked up, what did people do? People started taking profits. So what? The price came down. But from there, the price goes up and down, just like the market normally does when people buy and sell. But I want you to see, for the most part, right now, the price is going sideways. All right. So it went down to as low as 13 right here, with as high as 25 right here. But for the most part, it's going sideways. What does that mean? Don't worry about the up and down fluctuations of the price, ladies and gentlemen. It does what it does, people buying and selling, because this is a real market. But what's so interesting is that despite the up and downs, the numbers have continued to grow. And as you know, we crossed 1 million wallets, ladies and gentlemen. Look at the daily volume. It's over $31 million. All right, the market cap, 2.51. These are clues that there's something special going here because this project just continues to grow and to grow. All right. So I want to help you with that. The price of the coin is going to go up and down. So you need to know that in advance. I want to bring Dr. Amir to come on to talk about this for a moment. Dr. Amir, are you there, sir?
Yes, can you guys hear me?
Yes, welcome to the call.
Thank you, Mark. You guys, I've been a day trader for going on 7 years, and there's not one commodity, there's not one financial instrument that doesn't go up and down. So what we teach is to understand how to do dollar cost averaging. You can get in, for instance, at $18 because you don't know if the price is going to shoot up to 25, 30 or higher. But if it goes down, what you do, you either wait, you got a couple of options. You can wait, you can sell at a loss, or you can dollar cost average by buying at a lower price. So when it comes back up, in addition to it compounding, you're in a better position. So it's one more concept I want to cover speaking to this, Mark, and it's called smart money versus dumb money. Smart money holds, like Mark is talking about, meaning you have to believe and know that this project is a long-term project. And we look at that based off the fact that it's been running for over a year. His previous project was running for over 4 years and it's still running. So that gives you a clue, in addition to the fact that the holders are growing, the volume is growing, and we're talking about over $31 million, anywhere between 26 and $31 million daily. That's incredible. So this is the thing that is, once you're educated, and that's the purpose of this call, and you start to be informed on how the market moves. Even if we give the example of Bitcoin, Bitcoin goes up and down. Yeah, it went up to 110, I think, a couple of days ago, dropped down to 106, and now it's back up to, I think, 109, 108 last time I checked. That's every instrument in the market. So what we want our people to understand in closing is that you want to make sure that this is a long-term project. If you are in it for the first couple of weeks, then you haven't went through the 90-day cycle to be able to see the fluctuations in the price of the token. But the beauty of this project is the compounding allow you to continue to gain the LGNS token. So when the price goes back up, guess what? You're ahead, more ahead than you were when you first started, even if you started high and it dipped down and came back to the original watermark in which you started. So, Mark, I'll be sharing more, as we go through the call when you call upon me. But we just want people to understand this is about having knowledge, not necessarily, riding the stock market or any type of market or instrument dealing with your emotions. You want to know that you know, and because this project is liquid, it is a real market. I like to see people being able to buy and sell in a decentralized project. And just look at it this way: when the price went down, you got people who are ready to buy. They're not panicking. Those who know, they're ready to buy at a better position. So, Mark, I'm going to give it back to you, but it's very important that we understand these concepts. And these are basic concepts, you guys, in crypto. So, Mark, I'm going to give it back to you.
All right, thank you, thank you. They have a term, it's called FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. The worst time to make a decision, the worst way to make a financial decision is with your emotions. All right, so here you are, you watching, you see the price drop, you start freaking out, and what do? You sell. That's a mistake, ladies and gentlemen. This is a long-term play. And while you are selling, just like Doc just mentioned, while you are selling, guess what other people are doing? They are buying. Because Doc, you bought when the price dropped, and what was the outcome of that?
Okay, so when I saw when the price went from 19, I was looking at it at 19.5. It went down to 17, and I bought. I spent another $2,000. Then it went down to 16 for 16.14. I bought another $3,000. Then less than 24 hours, it go up $1. So I made over $300 in just less than 24 hours because I understand that I was getting LGNS at a discount. So when people sell off because they are afraid, and usually if they're selling off because they see the market dipping, they don't know that the person who is selling, that person is already in a good position to profit. If you got in at $18 and $19 and you sell at 16, then you're at a loss and you're going to be disappointed when you see the coin go right back up past 19 or $20. And all you realize is that you should have held, or if you had additional funds, dollar cost average by making more purchases.
Awesome. Appreciate that. And I want to bring Mark or Dave on. You both can unmute yourselves. And I know, Dave, you talk about this all the time because one of the things that you talk about is the compound growth. And Dave, are you there, sir?
I am. And good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Welcome to the call.
Yes, what I would say is this. First, I'll start off by saying they just gave you guys a lot of nuggets of knowledge. Take what they have given you and store it because it's worth its weight in gold. But I want everyone to take a moment and I want you to say to yourself 3 times, the price is irrelevant. Say it again. The price is irrelevant. The price is irrelevant. So when you see that price going down, do not react unless you have an intention to take profit at that point. When you see that price going up, I want you to pause. And I don't want you to sell unless you had the intentions before of taking profit. Now, why do I say that? Because in this platform, there is one word that is way more important, that will outdo, that will outlast the price, and that's compounding. The compounding in this platform will always have you in a profit. So then what should you be looking at? Every time you open that wallet, the amount of LGNS you have. And guess what? 8 hours later, you're going to have more of it. Now, it was brought up. When you see that price dropping and LGNS is on sale, yeah, it might be a great time to jump in there and get some more of that asset. That's what this is. It's an asset that is going up in value every 8 hours, not because of the price, but because you have compounded it a little bit more. So what should you take, if anything, from this call today? Don't let fear move you. Don't let greed move you when that price runs to $25, $30. The only thing you should be looking at is the amount of LGNS you have now and the amount you have in 8 hours, the next day, the next week, the next month, because those who concentrate on that, they have done very well on this platform. Back to you, Mark.
All right, all right. Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate it. And so he touched on that compound growth. That's another feature that makes this very unique, is the power of compounding, ladies and gentlemen, the eighth wonder of the world. We've got the ability to tap into that in this program. And that's one of the things that have attracted many of us to this platform. All right. Let's go ahead and let's talk about this privacy coin. I want to take a few moments to talk about this, ladies and gentlemen, because it's possible that many people don't understand how big this is. All right. So, to help you understand this, what I want to do is I want to go and take a look at the number one privacy coin on CoinMarketCap right now. So, first of all, what is a privacy coin? All right. Well, they are cryptocurrencies designed to conceal the user identity, to the transaction amount, and the wallet addresses. These tokens use advanced cryptographic techniques to enhance privacy. Some are fully anonymous, and others are optionally anonymous. Well, the number one most successful privacy coin is called Monero. All right, we're going to take a look at it because I want you to understand how big the stablecoin A is in relation to Monero. So here it is. This is CoinMarketCap. I just took the screenshot just a little while ago, and you can see that the current value of this coin is $316. So this coin, the value of this coin is driven by the market, and you can see it goes up and down. We talk about up and down of the market, right? So you can see a good example of it here. All right. But here's the thing I want you to see. This is number two most popular cryptocurrency on CoinMarketCap, and there are over 20,000. And this is number 22 in the world. So this is extremely popular, right? People want privacy when it comes to their money. But I want you to see this. The 24-hour trading volume is over $100 million a day. All right, this is huge. We looked at LGNS. It's about 35 million over the last 24 hours. This is many times more. All right, so here's the question. This is a privacy coin, and the value is driven by the market. Suppose you had a privacy coin that was stable and it stayed at $1 all the time. See, because if a person wants to use this and they need to send a certain amount of money to someone, they don't know whether or not the value is going to drop before the money even gets there. Are you with me? So if there was a privacy coin with a set value, do you think that would be more popular than a privacy coin with a fluctuating value? Absolutely. And this is what I want to show you here. The power of a privacy stable coin. Would a privacy stable coin, would that be in demand, ladies and gentlemen? The answer is absolutely yes. Privacy-focused stable coins could absolutely be in high demand, especially In the evolving landscape of decentralized finance, which you or I are a part of, the idea of people having complete control over their finances. So this is huge, right? And we have got that in this program. I want to bring David, I want to bring Mark on. In fact, let's go to Mark. Mark, can you talk a little bit about this privacy coin that is in the process of being released right now? Are you there, sir?
I am, and thank you. And as David mentioned, boy, there were some great nuggets in here. Take them, write them down. They're fantastic. Got some great presenters here. So yes, stablecoin A. Just to give you a little insight, I actually got involved with Origin in May, the end of May 2024, a little over a year ago. And that was one of the first things that caught my eye. I said, what? A privacy stablecoin. What is this all about? Now, it's time. Its time has come. And they are going to launch this. I mean, it's already in progress. You can get some airdrops for A. You can see it. It's going to be called A. Okay, right now we'll call it stablecoin A, but it's going to get well known and it'll be called A. And it's very powerful because this one, like Mark just said, it's going to have a stable value. So you don't have to worry about sending to someone and you owe them so much. And then by the time they get it, it's less or could be more, whatever. This is going to be stable. It's never been done, but it's in the works. Everything is there. And there's going to be something else attached to it called a pay, okay, which is going to be a payment system as well. And to get this, to get the A token, you have to use LGNS. So this is very powerful, and it gives the LGNS more power going forward. So like I said, I've been waiting for this for over a year now, and I could tell you during that year, this system, this whole ecosystem here has run flawlessly. Never seen a mistake. The only time, sometimes there's a little, slow a little bit, but almost every single time, that's the Polygon network. And we are the #1 token on the Polygon network every single day. And this has been going on like this for months now. It is absolutely phenomenal, and we're keeping it busy. So that's a good thing. And later on down the road, that last one there is, well, actually the second one, we got the decentralized exchange that will be coming out as well in the next phase. And a payment system, which will be coming out with the stablecoin A and the banking. So the banking is basically, if you have staked LGNS, you can actually take a loan out against it and it'll lock down. But guess what? You can continue to compound and you can have whatever funds you need. So it's basically you become your own bank. And that's the beauty of it. And it's all within the community. And everything we do here is about longevity. So many people ask me, they say, what's the #1 concern you have? When I talk to them, I said, well, what are you looking at? They say longevity. I've had too many issues in the past with different things that didn't last. This is all about longevity. Their sister project, which was Olympus Ohm, that was 4 years ago, still running today. They just made this one better. And we've got so many more components to it now. And now it's all coming to fruition. So, Mark, I'll pass it back to you. If you have any questions, whatever, you can go ahead.
All right, great. Thank you for that, Mark. And so now, if you would, can you talk a little bit about the goodness gracious, I kind of lost my thought a little bit. Can you talk a little bit about the staking that's taking place now when you access your Spider rewards? Can you talk a little bit about why you believe that was instituted and what is the benefit of that?
Okay, very simply, we just kind of left it on that longevity. Everything that the protocol is doing is about longevity. That's what we all want, right? That's the first question people ask. How long is this going to last? Well, if we take good care of it, it's like the goose and the eggs. You take care of the goose and you can eat the eggs, the golden eggs. So that's what we have here. Now, the energy, we have many people. Now, if you're passive, Anybody, I don't think there'll be too many passive people on this call, but if you're passive, or you could even build passively, then if you're just passive, you won't have to worry about the spider web. Okay, so that doesn't concern you. But if you have wallets underneath you, whether they're yours or somebody else's, or it doesn't matter, any kind of wallets underneath you, you are actually getting rewarded for that. And these rewards flow up through what we call the spider web. And basically, it's a uni-level generation, pays down 15 levels, and each level has a certain amount of percentage that you will get on whatever they are making. So when everybody comes in, when they do their first deposit, okay, there's no upfront money. There's no like, to say, oh, there's a fee. You're going to make so much if you bring in John. Well, no. When John makes his first 8-hour rebase, whatever he makes, you get a little percentage of that. And that all flows up into the spider web. Now, some of the levels, as you go down, it starts at a higher level and works its way down to a lower. And spiderweb catches them all. You got some big ones in there, some small ones in there, whatever it is. And then every 8 hours, you can go in there and clear out your spiderweb. Now, one of the most brilliant things that they did, and this is all about longevity again, instead of just going in, clearing it out, what you're doing now is to clear it out, you take your LGNS, and here's the beauty, whatever you need, you will purchase it. It's called energy value. You're not really purchasing it because you're getting it back. And this is the beauty of it. Every LGNS that you need, you're getting 2.5 when you go into, or 2.58 into the energy. So, and where does it go? It doesn't cost you anything because what they're doing is staking it. You're pledging. That's the word they're using, pledge, which means you're going to get it back. Plus, you're going to get interest on it. So this is fantastic. And just like the bonds, I don't know if anybody's, really seen too much about the bonds. We may want to get some, interest in that as well. But they drip it back to you every single day. You're going to get a piece of whatever you pledge back every day, plus a piece of the interest every single day, just like the bonds. And this, I think, is great. So just to put it in perspective, after 180 days, whatever you pledged, you're going to have half of it back already that you can turn around and compound. So you could have been doing this every day. I just gave you an example, but every day you can put it back in compounding. So you've benefited by getting interest on it, and now you can recompound it with the staking, the regular staking. So it's a very powerful system, and it keeps participation. There are, some wallets that have a lot of LGNS that they are receiving every single day, which is fantastic. We love to see that. And to get it, everybody has to participate by putting it in long term. What does long term mean? That means longevity for the whole project. So it's a beautiful system. I can't say enough about it, and it costs nothing. Some people say, well, I have to spend, there's no fees, nothing to take that LGNS and turn it into energy. So that's what you're doing. You're taking the LGNS, turning it into energy, using that to release the spider web into the turbine, and you're getting it back over time with interest. So it's really that simple.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Thank you so much for that. And Dave, is there anything you wanted to add to that by chance?
Absolutely. I'm going to add to that. And then, if it's okay with you, Mark, I'm going to go back and touch a little bit on the A token. But let's start
Yes.
with what we're talking about here, the spider web energy. Beautiful addition. And in a nutshell, Mark gave you a number, right? It started out there about 258%. Now, what that means for longevity, an easy way of understanding it is Mark gets 10 LGNS in an 8-hour period from the spider web. These are people that he went out and told about this amazing platform. These are people that they told, and so on down 15 levels. And he gets 10. Now, what this system just now did, it said, Mark cannot say, thank you very much, folks, and walk away with those 10 LGNS, convert them back to DAI, and take it to his wallet and walk away. Because that's not good for anybody ultimately, right? What the system said is, Mark, we are going to allow you to take everything but approximately 26%. 26% of what he earns every 8 hours in the epoch, he has to put into long term and get dripped back to him. Now, the system could have easily said, we're going to do that and we're going to drip back to you what you had to put in. And it's going to make this thing last long for everybody. The person that comes in tomorrow, 3 months later, we're going to take them into consideration instead of Mark sitting back and saying, I've made it, I've arrived, and I'm not going to put any more skin in the game. But the system took it a step further. The system said, we're going to allow you to put that 26% in, and we're going to pay you that 258% interest on what you put in. So it's a win-win. It's a win for the whole community. For those friends who tells friends, who tells friends who come in 3 months later, it's a win. And for Mark, who's in right now. So that's an easy way of understanding it, okay? Now the token A, Mark can contest. When we dug deep into this, this is probably next to compounding, one of the things that got me most excited about this platform. You mentioned the privacy token, Monero. If a person owns one of those, then they have $300 and some worth of Monero. That is subject to the market, the buying and the selling, through Monero's developers making a mistake, through them making an advancement and it going up in price. You're subject to that. Now, Mark touched briefly on this token, the A token, and it's stable, which means it doesn't fluctuate no matter what happens. It stays the same. But there's a second component to it. You have the ability to stake it. So what does that mean? You now have a stable token that you know cannot go down. And you're staking it, meaning it can only go up. So how about a balance? Unlike LGNS, that when you look at sometime, you get a little nervous because the price has dropped and that overall balance has dropped, not with A token. It's only going to go up. So why would you take more than you need? You wouldn't. You would take what you need to live off of, and you would leave what you don't need in that account because it's doing what? It's compounding, and that balance is only going up. You see, that's the way it's supposed to be. When you put money in the bank, it should always be going up. But the traditional system, it allows it to go up. It just doesn't go up in your account. It goes up for those who you trust, and you put the money in their hands as your custodian. Not with the A token. You're managing your own wealth. Back to you, Mark.
All right, that is awesome. That is awesome. Mark and Dave, if you could talk about this, can you talk about the relationship between LGNS and the A coin?
You want to
And we'll start.
grab? Oh, okay. Dave, you want to grab that, or you want?
Sure, absolutely. So we all know that LGNS, it served two functions: to bring liquidity and community. Currently, we have a treasury of over 2 billion, and we have a community of over 1 million wallets. People that are using, buying, selling, holding, staking LGNS. The goal is the A token. LGNS, its goal was to bring community and liquidity. The goal for A token is to bring freedom, financial freedom to the world. Anyone that wants to join our community, join arms with us, and have financial freedom in a decentralized community. So ultimately, the goal is for people to go from LGNS to A token. They will burn LGNS to obtain A token. Now, it's important to understand, once A token is up and running, it's going to be valuable not just to those members of Origin, it's going to be valuable to anyone in the crypto space. or anyone that wants a better way of accelerating and growing their wealth outside of traditional financial systems that will give them a lot less control and a lot less returns. So in short, when we look at the relationship between LGNS and the A token, LGNS is what's ushering in the A token. That was their goal, is the A token. A token that is stable and is anonymous. Only you see your holding, only you see who you sent it to, and only you see who you received it from. Mark, you want to add to that?
Nope, that was fantastic, Dave. That's why I let you do that. You're the best at that. So, yeah, it is fantastic. Like I said, I've been waiting over a year for this, and I'm so excited. And it's on its way. And wait until you see the privacy that's involved with this. It's going to really blow everybody's mind for sure. And there's going to be all kinds of people from everywhere that are all of a sudden going to start looking at Origin. And you can imagine what that's going to do for us. So it's a lot of good stuff coming up for sure.
Outstanding, outstanding. Thank you for that. Really, really appreciate it. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So now, this is not a customer service call. So we're now going to be doing a lot of customer service solutions. We're going to be referring you back to your sponsor for that, but we are going to take some questions. All right. So let me just take a quick look here. So we're going to take a couple of questions. Start with George. George, you're unmuted. You can ask your question, sir.
Okay. I'm doing this program passively, so I'm just accumulating LGNS. So you said, so we're going to be converting the LGS to get stablecoin. So the more LGNS you have, the more stable coins you can get, but stake them at the same time?
I can take that. Absolutely, you're correct. You will have a choice because you're always in a driver's seat to keep your LGNS doing what it's doing, or to take your stable A or convert it to stable A and utilize that privacy token, stable A, okay? Now, if you notice right now, you don't have 100% anonymity, if you would, on your LGNS. As you convert it to DAI, and you do some other transactions with it back to your wallet, if I had your wallet address, I could see those transactions. That's not going to be the same for stable A or for the A token. That will be 100% anonymous, and there will be no traces for anyone to be able to do that. So there's going to be that appeal to you going from LGNS over to stable A. Does that answer your question?
Kind of. So let's say what 6, 7 LGNS is compared to what $100. So
Correct.
7. So if I burn 7 LGNS, I will get 100 stable A coins.
Good question. And as of right now, I cannot answer the conversion question until the stable A actually comes online and we're able to obtain it. So the relationship between the two, I cannot answer that question as far as conversion. As of
Okay,
this point,
I'm just going to keep compounding my LGNS.
correct.
Until okay.
Yep.
And I'll keep buying some more when I get the chance.
Yep, you're doing the right thing. Passively, it's just accruing as much as you can of LGNS. And then once A token comes online for us to obtain and to utilize, another thing about A token is they're going to have the A payment, right? And you're able to, without having to convert back to DAI, and in most cases convert to another token like Bitcoin, in order for you to off-ramp it into fiat, you'll be able to utilize this A payment system to use your stable A. Okay, for like practical purposes. So that might be another reason why you would convert over from LGNS to stable A.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
All right. Great. All right. So let's do this. Okay, great. So let's go to the next person. I see Jerry. Jerry, you're unmuted.
Yes, I put my question in the chat. I'd like you to explain why the clock between next releases does not correspond to all the outside clocks in the
Okay.
world.
Okay, very good. And did you hear that, David? Are you able to answer that?
Yes, I am.
Mm-hmm.
So the clock that we see for the rebase, we were first under the impression that it went 8 hours and then expired, and then it went 8 hours and it expired. But since we've learned that what it is something called blocks explosion, and that's the completion and execution of 14,040 transactions on the blockchain. Now that takes on average about 8 hours, but there's times it can take longer. So it averages about 8 hours, but sometimes it can take longer. Now, with that being said, what happens is, say it takes an extra 2 minutes, an extra 5 minutes, an extra 45 minutes. It throws it off from the times that we were used to it being at. Does that make sense and answer your question, sir?
All right. He's muted now.
Okay.
Okay, great. Good answer though. Let's go to the next person. That'll be Gus. Gus, you're unmuted. Welcome to the call. Gus, click on your microphone. You should be able to unmute yourself right now. Okay.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, my question is in regards to the payment system. When we have this A coin and we have this payment system, is that going to be a debit card, credit card? What's it going to be?
My understanding is not going to come in the form of a card. It's going to come in another form through a blockchain transaction. So as we get closer to that stage and the A token is made available and the A payment comes up online, we'll be able to answer more of those questions for you. But it's not in the form of a debit card or anything along those lines.
How is it going to be able to, are we going to have to transfer it into the bank?
Nope, I can guarantee that won't be it. It won't be anything that's going to be your traditional finance. Now, you may have the option ultimately to go fiat and transfer it into a bank account, but the system will be able, you'll be able to turn it into fiat, if you would, without having to go into a bank account, if that makes sense, or spendable assets. That's probably a better way of putting it.
Okay, so it's going to be like a Google Pay or something along those lines.
That might be a simple way of explaining it without it going to your bank account, but a system that's in place that you can actually utilize your A token in the real world to pay bills and so forth. Correct. And like I said, as we get closer, we'll definitely do our best to get that out to the community so we know how this amazing platform is advancing.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Very good. Thank you for that. All right. We're going to go down to G. G, you're unmuted. Welcome to the call.
Hi, yes, good evening. My question is, we could see the percentage of the returns are dropping daily. Would there be a cutoff point where the percentages stop? Because my thing, I'm thinking, let's say a few months down the line, somebody comes in and they want to stake, and the percentage is as low as 0.001%. To them, that's not going to make much sense for them to invest or stake their coins there or stake their money there, because the percentage return is so low, and as a result, less people will be coming on board and the coin will be selling off. So that's my concern, because we have known of projects like this before, and because of the percentage dropping really low, the coin loses value over time because everybody's selling off because they're panicking selling. So that's
Okay.
my question.
Okay, great. Good question. David or Mark, can either of you address that?
I can take that one.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that the rebase reward is tied to the treasury. and it's currently over 2 billion. So the amount of held LGNS that's continually putting pressure on this smart contract to pay the compounding. So the contract looks at that number and it says, okay, I know I have 2 billion worth of assets that are being held that I need to compound against. How can I do this in a way that I can make this thing last forever? It's trying to stay alive. And so it takes that percentage and it drops it based on that. So then what happens is this. Now you might have noticed this. We had a price drop in the last 24, 48 hours. Particularly over the last 24 hours, we had a noticeable one. And it bounced back. But one thing you did notice is that during that drop, that rebase, what did it do? That rebase reward, it went back up. You also noticed that there was less being held in that treasury. It dropped below one, I think I got down to 1,900,000,000, somewhere around there. Okay, and it's back up now to where it was and maybe have surpassed what it was prior to the drop. So we're going to talk about a couple things, how we can kind of combat that drop in the rebase reward. Number one, our team had talked about from the beginning of compounding and eating off the table. Well, as a community, it might be smart for us to eat off the table a little quicker. Because if we wait too long and we let that greed factor, if you would, set in, we're going to compound to amazing numbers that in return are pushing down that rebase reward. So as a community, we start to eat off the table a little quicker. And you take what you need. You take what you need, and you get to a point of getting your seed off the table quicker. And from there, you're building. So we're all building together, and we're slowing down that rebase reward dropping. Because as that treasury balloons bigger and bigger, you cannot stop that rebase reward from dropping. Because that smart contract is trying to survive. It's trying to take care of us that are currently in, and it doesn't want to oversaturate the market with more LGNS by keeping that rebase reward at a higher rate. Does that make sense?
All right.
Yeah,
Thank you
and
for that.
if I can just add to that too, as we go and as the stablecoin A starts to become available, what are we going to need to get the stablecoin A? We're going to need LGNS. So like Dave just said, where are we going to get the LGNS? We're holding it. So as we convert, that's going to take some of that pressure off of the treasury because we're going to be using it now. And that will help to take care of the compounding rate as well.
And as we're on this topic, let's talk about how you should sell. And I'm glad we have over 200 people, because then you can share this with others as well that didn't make it to this Zoom. Strategic selling in an effort to make this gift that we have last for a long time. What does that look like? Well, say that I decided I wanted to sell $1,000 worth of LGNS. It's not the smartest thing to do for me to go in and sell it all at once. What that leads to is FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and fear selling. What you saw the last 24 hours was a combination of people taking gains, some maybe not taking it the right way, and other people reacting to seeing that price action drop. Have you ever seen in maybe a cartoon where a car is over a ledge and it's just barely hanging there, and then a feather, it lands on a roof and it just takes the whole thing over, just enough pressure? Well, that's what happens when we sell back unresponsibly. You may think, excuse me, that in 2 billion treasury, that my 1,000 doesn't affect it. But that feather is pressure during sell-offs, that it continues to push it down, that price. Now, how do I do it, David? Are you saying you don't want us to take our profit? Nope. We want you to take your profit. Matter of fact, to reiterate what I spoke of earlier, we may even want you to take it quicker as opposed to later. How do we do it then? Well, if I'm going to take $1,000, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and break it up into 4. And I'm going to sell and get my 250. I'm going to wait 10 minutes and I'm going to sell again 250. I'm going to wait 10 minutes and I'm going to sell another 250 until I have reached my $1,000 withdrawal. 4 different transactions. Now, you might say, David, you're telling me I have to waste 40 minutes of my time to sell and get my 1,000 when I can do it in a matter of 10 seconds. Absolutely. And by doing that, all of us as a community doing that, we can potentially allow this platform to last long. Responsible selling. This passes on to everyone. Take what you need. We encourage it. But let's do it strategically and let's do it in a smart manner. And maybe you're taking 300. Break it up into 2. Maybe you're taking 100. Break it up into 2. But especially when you start getting into the larger numbers, let's break that up into 3s or 4s, if not more, and take it throughout the day. And that way we can guarantee that we're not putting that feather on that price action and continue to force it down. Back to you, Mark.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for that. Good question. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to conclude the call. Mark and David, do you guys have any closing remarks?
This system allows you to go decentralized, to manage your own finances decentralized, which means there's no oversight, no boss, no one telling you when to wake up, when to clock in. There's no credit score that says you are qualified or you're not qualified. They don't care what your religion is, your gender is, or your age. And with the addition of a token now, it's closing the loop with a token and a payment. So now you can come in and instead of having to come back out and convert to Bitcoin and then drop that into your bank account, you can come in and stay in a system of decentralization. Very powerful. That's it for me. Thanks for having me tonight.
All right. Thank you so much, David. And Mark, any closing comments?
Well, I can just say one thing for myself. As I said before, I've been waiting over a year for this. Everybody on this call, consider yourself very lucky because it's right around the corner and you didn't have to wait anywhere near that long.
Outstanding. Outstanding. Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We really appreciate you taking the time to be out with us. You know, we've been in this for several months, but it feels like we're at the very beginning. So excited about the future for all of us.